Hello everybody, this is going to be Incont's review of Worlds and who I think is going to go ahead and take it all. These are my predictions, so let's go ahead and get into this. First we're going to talk about the teams and some of their strengths, starting off with Cog Red. They're the first here on this list here for North America. So for Cog Red, we're going to talk about some of their star players. One of their star players, Gars in the jungle. Known for his Thor. If he gets Thor, he wins. If he gets Kali, he wins. If he gets any god, he wins. He's hard to deal with. Divios over in the solo lane. Likes to stay in that solo lane a lot. Doesn't like to rotate out very much. Typically will pick gods that counter the opposing solo laner's gods. Wins that matchup. Gets big. Carries it over towards the late game. Likes heavy bruisers like Osiris and stuff that he can really push people out of the way towards the end game. The last big player on Cog Red is Boosh. Boosh likes aimed gods, raw for his snipe. Back when Ao Kuang had his big ultimate, now Kukulkan loved those kind of big play making ults. He always is he's the most consistent member on Cog Red. Always does good no matter what. One thing about them, though, is they do have a lack of experience versus European teams. Their tournaments thus far have been North American. They've been playing against the other Cogs, Dig, Complexity, etc. They haven't had very much experience versus the European teams. The European meta is a bit different, and it's a bit weirder to go against sometimes. They are arguably, though, the best team in individual skill. If you take each individual player away from their team, they are all fantastic and considered probably in the top 3 at the least from each individual role, giving them a fantastic overall team comp. Nextly, we have Prime. You can't talk about Cog Prime without talking about Jeff Hinla. The last pretty much remaining original support in North America, the other being Shadowcube, but Shadowcube doesn't play that much right now. Known for his ability to hog and steal very well, also known for his Guardian play. Loves Guardians. He's always played Guardians. Has all of the Guardians to rank 10. Andister, the big playmaker for Prime in their online series. He's their jungler. He carries them through games. He plays hyper carries, Mercury, Kali, working on Thor. But he likes those hyper carries that once you get towards that mid-late game, you can just carry away with it. He likes those high damage characters. And of course, where's the guys in the audience? Barracuda! Barracuda, of course, known for his Apollo play. Also bringing in Rama and Freya to his kit, doing a lot of work with those characters as well. Can't ban him out. You're going to have to deal with him, and he's going to farm up in his lane, and he's going to make it to the late game, and he's going to become a problem in your backline. One thing Prime has going for them is they have a huge LAN experience. They've been to pretty much every LAN. Some of those players have been to almost all the LANs in Smite. They also have arguably the best team fights of any team right now. The way they synergize, they may not have as much individual skill sometimes as Cog Red. If Cog Red were to go against them in 1v1 situations, perhaps they would take them. But I do believe Prime has more synergy than Cog Red. Cog Red getting a lot of their momentum from their individual play, pushing themselves to be ahead in the team fights. If they were to be even, I think Prime takes those fights over Cog Red. Moving into the European side of things, we have SK and Titan. So talking about Titan, they're one of the newest teams sponsors in the game, as well as one of the newest teams into the pro scene. They came from the Challenger League up as Aquila, and they are now sponsored by Titan. They got first place at the regional European LAN. Their most known players being Pretty Primey and Repicos. You hear those names all the time. Pretty Primey, the original Vulcan, people call him, really made Vulcan popular and brought it into the meta, into the pro scene. Then everybody brought it out, and that was really his doing. One of their strong suits on their team is they have crazy motivation. These guys, even when they're down and out, stay on top of things. They stay happy. They keep doing calls. They keep playing hard, and that's going to really help them in that LAN environment. Another thing they have right now is they have a lot of momentum. They should have been out in the first round of the European regionals, and they can ride momentum all the way. They rode it all the way through the European finals, and I think they can probably ride it a bit through the World Championship. Moving into SK, this is the oldest team, probably the oldest team comp in Smite right now for original members. Their number one player, honestly, Reels. He's their captain. He's their ADC. He's the guy you're going to hear about on their team. He's going to be Apollo ulting in the back line, getting triple kills. He's doing tons of work. And if you're not hearing about him, you're hearing about Mania or Captain Twig. Those two both in power positions to carry, and they're both going to take advantage of that. This is arguably, SK is arguably the best team in a LAN environment, just hands down. These guys show up at LANs every time. It has to do a lot with the fact that they get a lot of practice in due to the SK organization. A lot of the times they get to go in a couple weeks before, get to be in that LAN environment, get that practice going, and it really, really shows during the tournament. All right, so moving down into some brackets here. We're going to get all the way down into the brackets, and we're going to talk about how I think this is going to go. Me personally, one, I don't know enough about the Chinese and the South American, Latin American, Brazilian teams to talk about them really. Also, I don't think they've had the game long enough to be a prominent threat at Worlds. On top of the fact that, if you haven't heard, almost all of the teams coming from China, Latin America, Brazil, are not bringing all their original members. A lot of them are having to bring in subs due to problems with visas. Couldn't get into the country, and so that's going to hinder them as well. So, assuming that North America and Europe wins all of these first round matchups, we have our first game, Cognitive Red versus SK Gaming in match 7. I have SK Gaming taking out Cognitive Red in what most would see as an upset, but I think it's coming. We then have match 8 down here, where we're going to have Titan versus Cognitive Prime. I have Prime taking out Titan in this match. Moving on, we're going to have the losers matches. The losers matches happen. That's the Chinese teams, the South America, Brazil, to Latin America, Brazil teams. Moving on into the quarterfinals, we're going to have Red versus DID. I have the Chinese teams, both of them coming over on top of these Latin America, Brazil teams. So it ends up being Cog Red versus DID. Red takes that from them. And then we have Titan versus OMG, and Titan takes that from them, which brings us back to the semifinals with all the North American and European teams. We have SK versus Titan. We have the 2 European teams versus each other, and then the 2 North American teams versus each other, Red versus Prime, in the semifinals matches. In the SK versus Titan matchup, SK is going to take it this time, and they're going to move onward to the finals. In the Red versus Prime matchup, Prime is going to show up. Prime is going to take it from Red, bringing Red and Titan to the consolation match for 3rd place, where Red will take 3rd place, Titan getting 4th. In our finals match, we have Cognitive Prime versus SK Gaming. And who's going to take it all this year? I think it's going to go back to Europe, just like the launch tournament. SK taking 1st place this year, Prime taking 2nd, Cognitive, Red in 3rd, and Titan, formerly Aquila, in 4th. If you guys agree or disagree with me, go ahead and leave your reasonings in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys. This is just my personal thoughts, but we will go ahead and see what happens this week. I will be at the event all week. I hope to see you guys there. Come by and say hi. Have a twitching day, y'all.